All right, Cowboys Nation, buckle up because today we are diving deep into everything you need to know about George Pickens and the Dallas Cowboys. And we're going to do it in a way that clears up all the confusion floating around in the media and across fan bases. Lately, there's been a lot of chatter about Pickens, his contract situation, and whether the Cowboys are doing the right thing by not rushing into an extension. But let me tell you, this is exactly the kind of strategy that makes sense for a team like Dallas. First, let's break down where we are with George Pickens. As it stands, Pickens is on an expiring contract, and the Cowboys have not yet engaged in any extension talks with him or his representatives. Some media folks have been making it sound like this is a problem, but in reality, both sides agreed to take a measured approach after the trade was finalized. The Cowboys wanted to see how Pickens would fit into the team dynamic, especially considering the drama from his previous tenure in Pittsburgh, while Pickens himself wanted to see if he could thrive with arguably the best quarterback he has ever had the chance to play with. Spoiler alert, he has not just thrived, he has exploded. With 685 receiving yards already on the board and a pace that could shatter his previous production, Pickens has delivered everything Dallas was hoping for, and then some. He is already outperforming his time with the Steelers in touchdowns, and he has become a central piece of the Cowboys' offensive machinery. Now, let's talk about the financial side of things because that is where a lot of people get tripped up. The Cowboys have already done significant planning to see how Pickens fits into their future salary cap outlook, and it's not nearly as complicated as some critics suggest. Teams across the league have successfully managed similar situations. The Lions, the Dolphins, the Bengals, and even the reigning Super Bowl champions have navigated the challenge of balancing top-tier wide receivers with elite quarterbacks. The Cowboys are simply being prudent, mapping out how to make it all work once the season concludes and the right timing for negotiations comes. There is no mismanagement here. There is strategy. Meanwhile, some voices in the media, like Tim Kawasho, have been pushing the narrative that the Cowboys need to trade Pickens before the next NFL trade deadline. But here's the reality. They do not. The arguments that have been laid out about cap space, defense needs, and the perceived lack of receiving depth are either misguided or missing the bigger picture. Cap space projections often fail to consider the kinds of restructures and adjustments the Cowboys routinely employ. Dak Prescott's future salary cap numbers, for instance, are never intended to remain at the peak projections. Restructuring saves tens of millions. CeeDee Lamb, Tyler Smith, and other key contributors can be adjusted in ways that free up significant room, while cuts or restructures in other positions like defensive tackles or right tackles can provide additional flexibility. When you add it all together, the Cowboys are comfortably positioned to retain Pickens while still managing other priorities for the team's growth and performance. Let's pivot to the offensive impact, because this is where Pickens truly shines. The Cowboys' offense has been clicking at a level that some analysts fail to fully appreciate. Even in games where the defense struggled, the offensive unit, with Pickens as a key weapon, has demonstrated explosive capability. He is not just a supporting player. He is central to the offensive identity. The chemistry between Pickens and Prescott has been evident in every game, and the way he stretches defenses and creates mismatches cannot be overstated. The concern some have about adding Pickens' contract to the mix misunderstands how the Cowboys manage the cap and optimize their roster. They are not operating in a vacuum, and there is a clear plan to balance star salaries while still investing in other critical areas of need, including the defense. For those fans who are worried about supporting wide receivers, let's set the record straight. Jalen Tolbert, Gavant Turpin, and Ryan Floyd provide adequate support, but none have the ceiling or consistency of Pickens. Adequate does not mean replaceable, and replacing Pickens without giving up significant future assets would be impossible. Draft picks are valuable, but the return for a player of Pickens' caliber is enormous, and any trade would need to reflect that value. It is not a matter of desperation or scarcity. It is a matter of strategy and maximizing team success. Looking ahead, it is clear that the Cowboys are in a strong position. The media narratives about trading Pickens or being unable to afford him simply do not hold up under scrutiny. The projected cap space for the upcoming offseason, combined with smart restructures and potential positional adjustments, provides the flexibility necessary to retain the star wide receiver while addressing other team needs. The offense, fueled by Pickens' playmaking ability, remains one of the most potent in the league, and any attempt to disrupt that would be counterproductive. Pickens has not only validated the trade the Cowboys made for him, but he has exceeded expectations and become an irreplaceable part of the team's core. Meanwhile, comparisons to other teams and the handling of high-priced players further underscore that the Cowboys are following a well-trodden path that has led to success across the NFL. Whether it's managing two highly paid wide receivers or balancing quarterback contracts with other key positions, the league provides numerous examples that the Cowboys are simply executing a long-term strategy that makes sense. In short, there is no crisis, no mismanagement, and no urgent need to panic. Both sides agreed to a patient approach, and that patience is paying off as Pickens continues to deliver at an elite level. The numbers, the performance, and the fit within the team all point to a positive trajectory for both player and franchise. As we continue to analyze the cap implications, offensive output, and trade considerations, it becomes abundantly clear that the narrative of urgency is overstated. Cowboys fans should take a deep breath because the foundation is strong, the strategy is sound, and George Pickens is performing at a level that few could have anticipated. The team is managing the present while planning prudently for the future, creating a scenario where both financial stability and on-field dominance are possible. Every game highlights Pickens' contribution, from stretching defenses to creating scoring opportunities that Prescott can capitalize on. His breakout campaign is not a fluke. It is the product of skill, opportunity, and a system that knows how to maximize its talent. The Cowboys have positioned themselves to maintain this edge without compromising future flexibility. The strategic patience in contract negotiations, combined with meticulous salary cap management and roster planning, allows Dallas to retain a top-tier wide receiver and continue building an offense that challenges any defense in the league. Fans should recognize that the noise in the media does not reflect the reality of the situation. Pickens' impact is measurable, undeniable, and integral to the Cowboys' success. Even as trade rumors circulate, the practicalities of roster management, cap strategy, and offensive continuity all support the decision to hold steady. The Cowboys have crafted a situation where they can win now while retaining the ability to make adjustments in the offseason to strengthen both offense and defense. Pickens is thriving. The offense is firing on all cylinders, and the financial framework is in place to support continued success. This is the kind of calculated approach that separates teams that merely compete from teams that dominate, and the Cowboys are demonstrating that acumen in real time. From the explosive yardage totals to the touchdowns and scoring impact, every metric indicates that retaining Pickens is not only feasible but highly advantageous. The narrative of panic or impending crisis is simply media hype, lacking an understanding of the nuances of NFL roster management, salary cap flexibility, and long-term strategic planning. The Cowboys are methodically building a winning framework, and Pickens is central to that plan. This patient, intelligent approach allows them to capitalize on the talent they have acquired while still preparing for the future in a sustainable, calculated way. Now, as we continue breaking down the Cowboys situation with George Pickens, it is essential to dive even deeper into the financial side of things, roster management, and the strategic decisions that make Dallas a serious contender. Many critics have tried to paint the Cowboys into a corner, arguing that adding Pickens' future salary would create impossible cap problems or force the team to make risky trades. The truth, however, is much simpler and far more optimistic than the panic-inducing narratives circulating in the media. The projected cap space for the upcoming offseason is not only sufficient to accommodate Pickens, but also flexible enough to allow the team to address other pressing needs on defense and across the roster. By strategically restructuring key contracts, including Dak Prescott and CD Lamb, the Cowboys can free up tens of millions of dollars, providing a cushion that allows them to retain star talent while still building depth and addressing weaknesses. It is not about robbing Peter to pay Paul. It is about forward-thinking roster management and disciplined financial planning. Beyond the numbers, the offensive impact of keeping Pickens cannot be overstated. He is more than a receiver. He is a game-changer who forces defenses to adjust and opens opportunities for every other player on the field. His ability to stretch the field, create mismatches, and consistently make high-impact plays has transformed the Cowboys' offense into one of the most potent units in the league. Removing him would not only weaken the receiving core, but would also disrupt the chemistry that Prescott and the offensive line have built over the season. While Jalen Tolbert, Gavant Turpin, and Ryan Floyd provide support, they simply do not match Pickens' production or ceiling. Tolbert, for instance, has shown promise but remains a free agent and cannot be counted on to deliver at the same level consistently. Turpin and Floyd, while serviceable, lack the proven explosive ability that Pickens brings week in and week out. The idea of replacing him with draft picks or lesser players ignores the immediate and tangible contributions he provides. On the trade front, suggestions that Dallas should move Pickens before the deadline are short-sighted at best. The value of a player like Pickens is immense, and any trade would have to reflect that value adequately. A top 10 draft pick might even be necessary to match the return for a player of his caliber. Trading him for anything less would be a strategic error that could hurt the team's offensive momentum and long-term competitiveness. It is also important to recognize that the Cowboys have a clear plan for balancing offense and defense moving forward. While defense has struggled at times, the team's approach is not to sacrifice its explosive offense to address defensive gaps prematurely. Instead, the strategy is to maintain offensive continuity while using the offseason and smart cap management to strengthen defensive positions. The flexibility provided by contract restructures and potential positional adjustments allows the Cowboys to make meaningful defensive upgrades without compromising the offensive unit that is already performing at a high level. As we consider hypothetical trades and cap adjustments, it becomes clear that Dallas is not in a position of desperation. The offensive system is working, Pickens is thriving, and the management has the resources to address other areas of need. This level of strategic foresight is what separates teams that merely survive in the NFL from those that consistently compete for championships. Another key factor is the psychological impact of stability and continuity within the team. Pickens' presence not only boosts on-field performance, but also reinforces confidence and cohesion among teammates. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Nate Newton, the legendary Cowboys offensive lineman, hasn't held back his opinions, and this time, the comments are sending shockwaves through Dallas. Known for his blunt, no-nonsense style, Newton recently unleashed a scathing critique of the Cowboys' defense, raising eyebrows and stirring speculation about potential shakeups in the franchise. They've got talent, no doubt, Newton reportedly said in a heated conversation with insiders. But the way they're performing, it's embarrassing. The coaches need to wake up, and the players need to start taking responsibility. Sources close to the team suggest that Newton's remarks reflect a growing frustration among former players who feel the Cowboys are coasting on reputation rather than addressing glaring weaknesses. In particular, Newton pointed to missed tackles, blown coverages, and a lack of cohesion as the root of the defensive struggles. It's like watching a group of guys who don't trust each other out there, he reportedly added, hinting at internal conflicts that may not yet be public. The comments have fueled a whirlwind of speculation among fans and analysts alike. Some believe Newton's words could be a catalyst for serious change, perhaps even influencing decisions on coaching strategies or defensive personnel. Others worry that the remarks signal deeper issues within the locker room, potentially affecting morale and team chemistry as the season progresses. While the Cowboys organization has yet to respond officially, insiders hint that management is aware of the criticism and quietly reviewing defensive performance in light of the former lineman's public statements. Rumors are swirling that certain defensive coordinators are feeling the heat, and some believe Newton's critique could spark trade discussions or lineup adjustments before the next high-stakes matchup. Whether these comments are just hot air from a passionate ex-player or a harbinger of significant changes remains to be seen. But one thing is clear. Nate Newton has once again reminded the football world that he's never afraid to speak his mind. And for the Cowboys, his words might be more than just a rumor. They could be an urgent wake-up call for the entire franchise. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.